So welcome to today's fit. We've got Greg joining us and a very specific MO for driver.
Yes, I lose quite a lot off the tee from consistency and reliability. It's an old driver from 7 years ago with an old swing, which I've recently changed, and the two no longer match together. So ideally, I think lower launch, more spin to give me a bit more consistency. Okay,
and that's actually quite an interesting thing. We often see there have been previous fittings where we've said actually if you go away and work on X, then it will improve the numbers. Actually, this is the other way around, where you've gone and done the swing work and now we need to find the club to be appropriate. Yes. So over to me by the looks of it, so let's get cracking.
See what you can do.
So from a club setup point of view, what we've got from Greg's existing club is Epic Flash, so several years old, actually really good head. If you're trying to keep launch up and take spin off, which actually, from what Greg's just said in the intro there, isn't really what we're trying to do with it. So whereas where he was more down and across, that was great for that ball flight, keeping a bit of launch up and not letting it flare up. But now it seems to be presenting a bit of a problem. But shaft-wise, very stable Tensei orange, so it's designed around counterbalance and tip stiffness, so a lower spin shaft. But in the 70 and the TX, something that Greg mentioned to me off camera is it's just heavy. There's a lot of shaft there, so there's a lot of club to have to work with. So looking at that, that's sort of saying it's a very specific setup of club that with the swing lines now, rather than being out and sort of squeezing a bit, it's now into out and hitting up on it, and just a completely different pattern. So really looking to look at those elements to get the club and Greg synced up a little bit more rather than fighting it. So what we can see from this is where you're having to create the launch to keep the thing in the air, that angle of attack's getting to 6 or 7 degrees up, and that's a heck of a lot. In terms of to get that angle of attack, you're having to put the ball forward in the stance, therefore you're having to catch it further through the arc, i.e. beyond the low point. And what's good is you haven't got your swing direction too far to the right. Path's actually still quite quiet and consistent, which is great. Because quite often to get the angle of attack that far up, you've got to move the swing direction so far to the right that it just becomes horrible. So you're managing your path really well, but it means there's a lot of timing and manipulation to keeping the face on track. So this shot here, that bottom one, actually, if we can get back to that kind of launch and spin without you having to hit up on it so much to try and create the flight, and then that one caught low on the face that maintained the spin, but it shut the face down. So that's gone a heck of a long way left. So even 200 feet, 50, 60 yards left. If we can get the club set up so that you don't have to do that to create the height, all of a sudden it kind of pairs all the parameters back and makes it more reliable. It's just tough to manage on course.
Yes, you're telling me. That 60 yards left is the one where you're on a good roll and all of a sudden double, triple comes out of nowhere and scorecard looks a little less rosy.
So I think it's an interesting, I think if we can get the setup better, then that can then have the knock-on effect of you're not having to do as much with your action to see a flight that you're comfortable with, and even then it's still quite an up and out flight. So it's right on the borderline of playable. But you've done great work with the swing to go from out to into that neutral line is great. But if we can make it a little bit more neutral from a flight,
get something that's a bit easier to work with and not so much of a struggle.
And you see, if you're worried about the knuckle, then it's going to happen at some point. It's just when, and then so you're having to do so much with your angle of attack there to generate ball flight that not sustainable. No. Righty-hoo. So let's see what we can do. We'll get a bit of dead weight down, but we'll go to a head that's got, it's not high lofted, so we're not really going to be changing actual loft very much, but a head that actually naturally almost sort of pulls, that you were saying off camera earlier, kind of pulls launch down, spin up a little bit, whereas that is a high launch and a low spin head. So we can reverse that down and then start working on shaft.
Sounds good. Feels a lot lighter already.
Okay, so what I like straight away is how out in front of you that got. So one of the things I could see with your current one was where you're having to chase it
hung
through.
Back to try and get it up in the air.
And that immediately looked, you could see the club get out in front of you more. Yeah. Yeah, and actually from this, we can really see how much you've been having to hold off your other one.
Hold off the release mainly to try and keep the face open to keep the loft on it and get it launching up in the air.
Whereas actually with these, both of those, path get very, very neutral, which is lovely, but 2 to 4 degrees open. So actually you can start to let
scared to release
let the swing free up a little bit more, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see one more of that. That's a good start for sure. Okay. A little bit more turned over. Okay.
I guess that was just
change that up
slightly
a little
too
bit.
much too much release on that.
That's fine, because it's dead weight's a lot better. I'll push that a little bit further, but that's then about, it may well be that actually just changing the balance point. So your Tensei is a counterbalance shaft.
Yeah.
This one isn't. So it might be it's just a little too much bottom end, making you have to fetch it. So if we can make it so you haven't got to fetch the face closed and it just comes with you, then by the looks, if we can take out the need to square it with your hands, that'll then help just to dial that back in as well. But, let's push that a little bit further there, but that's definitely a step forward for sure.
Again, if you look at those last 2 shots, they've just done exactly the same thing. So just a soft draw just down the left side of the phone.
Still a bit open.
It's pretty square.
Yeah, it's good for path. I don't know what height that was. That's still
quite a lot of angle of attack there. But path just minus 0.3 and face to path 0.0, which kind of works.
Let's try and flatten it off.
That'd be an interesting one. Okay, so going a little less heavy, that proves the point about if we can get the club coming with you, if it's a bit behind, if you've got to fetch it, then it brings your hands in and then just overdo the shot shape. Yes. So with the previous one, it was a bit tip heavy, hence your kind of standard swings just bleeding off right because it stayed behind you. The moment we said, okay, draw it, then you had to fetch it and flip it, and that became volatile. Whereas straight away, first one a little higher on the face, but dead straight, that one, face to target, is 0.1 of a degree. So the club now is naturally getting to a square point.
Yeah.
That's now in a really nice flight window. So, for where your delivery is, it's now 13, 8 and 2, 1 on spin without being 5 degrees shut in the face.
Yeah.
So that's allowing you to bring angle of attack down because you're now meeting it at a more neutral position. So you're not having to do that to not go left.
Hold everything off.
The flight, and so much more neutral in terms of spin and launch.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see one more of that.
It feels nice.
But we're at 64 grams on the shaft rather than 78, 79.
Yeah, I can feel the difference.
Interesting, okay. So was that a bit more, okay,
interesting.
So that's
I did fetch that
slightly
a little
more of an
bit.
effort swing. I'll watch one more of that, but it's that thing of, right, we get it working better, and then actually do you start to gain confidence, and do we then need to give you a bit more guts to the club again? So it's all those sort of questions.
Yeah.
Is it even balance-wise with their shafts and the weights in the same place? I went about 3 grams lighter.
That felt better.
So the only thing I'm going to suggest here now is that I think to manage that flight, your ball position with your current driver has got a long way forward.
Yes.
I think that's where the angle of attack is quite so high.
So it wants to come to heel and not toe where my default is.
Yeah, I think bring it back a little bit because I think that's potentially where the more you go at it, then it rotates around.
Yes.
And actually,
just being a bit further
because
forward.
the club's coming with you, it's getting to a square point earlier rather than having to give it time to square up. So I think just bring it back a little bit should make it easier to get a more consistent face angle. That looked nice. That looked very simple. Okay, and so it's brought path a little bit more into it. Okay, yeah, so because of the 3 dimensions of it. It's actually brought path a little, so face to target, 1 degree open, but it's brought path a little bit more into out.
I mean,
okay.
I think with a couple of swings, I can get that back to neutral.
Let's see
it's just getting used to the...
I like where the flight is though.
Yeah, the flight's good. It's just getting used to the weight of it and being able to feel it a bit more with a bit more flex in the shaft.
Okay, so we're not a million miles off. Yeah, that's definitely a bit of a quieter path than that. Okay, I'm going to get, rolling it back up, but I'm going to get a couple of different options that are similar, certainly in the right ballpark. I don't want to go lighter than that, but certainly the right kind of ballpark, but rather than back and forth, I'll get a few. But that's definitely with you a lot better, and we're starting to get now much tighter delivery line through.
I think a lot of fitters can be brand specific, maybe working on a commission basis. I mean, I think when I got fitted for that, it was quite quickly, you want a Callaway, you want this shaft, and then we just played with a couple of different weights and a couple of different flexes, whereas already, yes, I've hit one head, but through 2 different shafts, there's plenty more options, and I think that's quite crucial to be able to find something that works for how you swing and not trying to swing to make something work. That feels a bit smoother.
Yeah, so just start off with a 9 degree head and now just gone to a 10 degree this time.
Leant back on it a fraction.
This line is so hard to see from the fraction start and that last one, but that's exactly what
I mean, that's going to happen every now and then, because that's, if you don't do that with your current one, it's low left. So I'm not too worried about. I'm not too worried about that swing.
That's a better miss to have.
Yeah, you can talk to that.
A 15-yard push you can play with. A 60-yard snap hook you can't.
I'll watch one more, that nice speed, but I'm just going to watch one more against whether we need just as you gain confidence, whether we just need to give you a little bit more to hit against. Okay, good ball speed. Okay, lovely delivery there. Okay, I'm just gonna
starting to get the feel of a lighter club now.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take the weight up a little bit. Just wonder whether there's, I mean that's and the last one right on the kind of the bottom end of the weight window. I definitely want to go lighter. I'm just gonna take the dead weight up a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, interesting. I'll see one more, but that numbers looked okay, but that looked like you had to work a bit harder.
Yeah.
I just brought the dead weight back up
I didn't
a little
quite,
bit as well.
Yeah, it didn't feel as nice as some of the others. It felt like it was close to what I've got, just a little lighter in terms of a flex profile.
Yeah, it looks like just taking that weight up and the swing weight's gone up a half a point, but it looks like you're having to force it there a little bit. So, okay.
Yeah, that's not as good as some of the others.
And we're still 10 grams lighter than your current one. So that says how hard you had to work with your original setup. Let's put that back there.
Again, what I like about that is, even on that one, where you kind of put your best face angle on it, that's still fine to this. Yeah, good way. It's not like when you mix it by
I felt myself holding on to that a little bit.
better than the last one, but actually the handle looks a little late on you, so it looks like it's got a little bit of a catapult of the head through. So you're starting to see then that, so it almost looks like the grip end is getting a little behind and then the head chases. So let's get that dead weight back down a little bit. And so it's interesting how, I wouldn't necessarily have thought we'd go quite as light as this. I thought we might be about 5 grams heavier. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I'm getting old, lighter is better.
No, well, it just shows you never really know, until you start testing, you never really know where the kind of the threshold is on weight, and it can often be quite surprised. Yeah, that's much cleaner straight away.
Yeah, this...
You get that?
This feels like the best one so far.
Trackman's just, oh, I did get it.
Just having a moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so from a little low on the face, but actually from a cleanliness of movement, that straight away looks simpler than the previous shafts. Okay, I'll see one more of that. I think there's one other I want to go to.
It's kind of the stock shape I'm after as well. So if I know that that's going to be the repeatable shot, I can work on aiming that 10 yards right and finding the middle rather than turning it over.
Looks like I held on to it a little bit, but it's actually fairly straight. Again, it's quite a safe one.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one other I'm going to pop in. Certainly like that one. It was an interesting question on one of the lives that we had the other evening was about kind of a stock shot and a fairway finder versus one you go after. And for me, it was interesting because I hadn't really thought about it as directly as this for a while. I was like, well, because I'm quite neutral with my shot shape if I'm swinging it properly. I was like, well, I don't actually do that much. So some players will play a trap and a cut and try and hold it in and then lasso a draw for a long one. I was like, well, problem then, if you're going away from, and this is to your comment about the stock shot, if you're going away from your natural move, all you're doing is bringing in a bigger miss. And I think that's the problem a lot of players do, is they go to a shot they wouldn't normally hit and then create issues. Not a good thing.
The main problem I've had with the driver is everything in the bag is that soft draw, but I've been scared to play that with the driver because it's just not consistent, it's not repeatable. I can get it 5 or 6 times out of 10, but the 4 that aren't are just card wreckers.
Right.
So I want to be able to have that stock draw, and if I really need to sling one the other way around a dog leg, just open the face and send it. And it's a lot easier to manipulate a cut than it is a draw.
Yeah. I think. Well, I guess there are different patterns player to player, but I need to have something that you know you can go to. Even if your stock shape is that little bit of a fade, little bit of a draw, then actually, at least you know what you're playing with. So for those eagle-eyed amongst you, they'll be noticing that I'm changing the system. Now we are migrating our test system from the Club Connects to a slightly different one where we're using the actual sleeve from the brand itself. So hence, I'm just switching between them as we've got half the shafts on the wall of one and half for another.
You also a little bit of lead tape on the toe?
Just to fine tune the swing weight, Is it capsule? Okay.
So just as efficiency-wise, that last shot doesn't quite seem to give us the same number.
It's being a little bit slow to show it. Okay. So definitely dead weight being down around the 62 gram is the right place to be.
Yeah.
This might feel a little.
It feels like
it's
It feels like it's flowing a lot nicer.
Okay. Yeah.
A little high on the face.
The tee can work its way out a little bit with hitting. I'm just going to take that down. Sometimes it can pop its way out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So caught a little high on the face.
Definitely felt that high on the face, but it's still, it's still manageable.
Yeah, swing line, face to path, you know, on both of those are very nice and quiet. Just caught a little high on the face, so popped up.
What's interesting, so that's not the best move on that. But then that's still absolutely fine. So that's when you're quite close to that. And that's still out there. Something really strong, which is out on an off swing, it's still right.
There's a slightly, okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Felt a bit better.
It's interesting. That's
still
the
slightly.
Ball speed. It's moving fine, but the ball speed's not as high. So I'm going to pop the Accra back in. Actually, that's the easy way of doing that. Didn't sound middle, but it still looks a cleaner move through the ball.
A little bit out of the heel, that one.
Side. Yeah. Yeah, you can hear straight away ball speed's up. Yeah,
that's
158
better, yeah.
Ball speed. And the lovely thing with that, there's still a little bit more to come out of it. The lovely thing with that is where we're at from a path point of view. That looks like just a point and shoot. Yeah. And we're at a nice angle of attack, nice quiet path, face to path, really safe launch and spin. Like all around, that's got fairway finding written all over it. There's no volatility there, which is great. Definitely like the way the shaft's swinging. As long as you're not averse to green.
I like the feel of it.
Any Irish heritage in you? I mean,
I think a small bit from hundreds of years ago, but no, green's good.
Yeah, but definitely in terms of the way that's moving, really like that. I'm going to get a couple of heads. I mean, the balance of launch and spin is good, and the good ones are right up there in terms of ball speed. You're seeing high ball speeds getting 148 in terms of efficiency. 149. So there are a couple that are just getting, I think, maybe just a little on the inside.
Just
of the
a slight on the inside,
little bit,
yeah.
But
a slight heel strike, I think, where I'm just still slightly getting used to a lighter weight and a lighter dead weight.
And this is what we've seen under these heads, is that actually the spin consistency, considering the strike's going a little into the heel, is really good. Yeah. It's whether is there a head that will just manage ball speed a little bit better, but actually as an all around. That's in a really solid place where it is now. Interesting.
That was more towards the toe.
Nice swing. Okay, right. So I get rid of that straight away. And this is the one thing with the Callaways is that, and this model, we are starting to see it is very low spin. That's too low spin.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see with this, where the Titleist have been really strong. These series has been ball speed, and where the Taylormade as an all-round is in a very good spot, but it's whether this just gains us that little bit of ball speed, or whether actually that's just a case of dialing in strike rather than the head not performing.
Yeah.
From there it just randomly assigns a colour. Yeah. Again, you look at those last three drives that you've hit with this, if anything,
a little high on the face.
Yeah. Let's take that back down a little bit. Okay.
Now it's just a question of if we just put a fraction more up on it.
Interesting. I'll do one more.
That one felt okay.
I'll do one more, I'll put the Taylormade back on. Actually, just looking at that, just in case it was ball. It's actually not moving as well. Interesting, it doesn't look like it's syncing up quite as well. So let me pop the Taylormade back on. And you do get that weight distribution in the head. Some heads just track better.
Yeah.
So for me, weight back, I find I get the club face gets out of sync for me. If it's a heavy back weighted head, I lose the face and start having to, it opens up in transition, then I've got to square it back up. Whereas that just looked like you're having to find square with it rather than just turn onto it.
I think already I can feel the difference in the way the head's flowing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just on, it's just with you better.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting from
It's
a flight
just-
point of view.
Yeah, I can feel it sinking. I know where it is.
Did you play for a slight fade?
I was playing for a slight fade there,
Okay,
just to see if it would go the other way, and whether I could marry up a slight out
Now,
path.
interestingly enough, that one's got better ball speed. So whether that's helped to move the strike point a little by
Potentially.
moving left, it's just moved the strike point to the outside of the head a little bit more. And the good side is you played for a fade. That was a nice little fade move, 2 degree path, 1 degree face to path. Still slight heel bias strike, which is why it's geared it a little bit. But that's also great to see because it shows how in control of the club you are, which is great. It's not just then a stand and deliver and one-dimensional. You can make the club talk a little bit.
I want to be able to say, this is what I'm trying to do, and the club syncs with me and does it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it's really stable face to target as well. That'd be an interesting one.
It feels nice. I think
there's always one swing. There was always one swing that throws a slightly quirky bit of data and you go,
not sure.
I'm not, based on everything else we've seen and what I know this head does, that's a spin rate which I think is a wrong reading because that I've not seen out of this head ever. So if it's a half read, you're at 2.5.
Everyone says I'm an anomaly.
So
I'll go another one.
I'll see one more because that looked a nice move. I'm going to see one more. I mean, it had more of a draw bust to it.
Yeah, but I went the opposite way with that.
That is an anomaly rather than anything that I've seen out of it from a test point of view. So you're interesting to see one more. But the club definitely moves way better. Little flip over. So I'm going to move that weight more to the back again, just because.
Yeah, it just
because I think it manages the spin better.
Didn't quite.
I think the stability with both weights
nice
back is a little
before,
better.
Yeah.
Interesting. Does definitely hold it online a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit more.
It feels
as you start down, there's a little bit more of that. So what hurts me in terms of back weight and transitions, when I transition it starts to open up, which I then have to shut it down. Actually for you, it drops it into a better line and helps it maintain the face angle. So weight too far forward starts to let it roll over a little bit.
Yeah, I think it just feels on a smooth, just practice swing, it feels like it's holding a line better and not forcing my wrists over.
This is the thing with the heads now, they're going so light in the crown, so light in the sole, there's that much weight being moved around that proportionally it really does change the CG in the way that the head moves around the shaft. Got a little bit more into out on that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So path dropped a little bit more inside. Angle attack got a little bit more up.
Yeah.
But it's maintained spin.
Trying to get the start line out to the right to bring it back.
I would say you don't need to. So by doing that, face the target's half a degree, but by trying to start it more right, you've actually you've created more volatility in the face. So the previous swing was still 4 degrees into out. So your natural path line is
A little inside.
2 to 4 degrees into out. So actually you've got that draw pattern there. And if you just carry on going with the swing, that one there is your shot shape. So it is a bit of a start right and draw back. So that's
more
certainly
an
not
aiming thing rather than a bit more with the swing.
Yeah. Because I think if you do it more with the swing, then you're creating more of a catapult.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe T's just got a little bit higher. That's still good ball speed. So it's got a little higher on the face. But again, what we're getting with this setup and that weight configuration is a very consistent pattern of 2 or 3 degrees face angle. So you've got, that's the weight that's come a bit loose. So you've got a bit of a draw bias, but it's a draw bias rather than a hook bias.
Yeah.
So there's some shape, which actually then makes it reliable from a shot pattern point of view, that you're not fighting the flip.
Yeah.
That's just then a case of as you dial in, so T's, where you've been on the tee is going to be a little high, so it's just then dialing into that tee height. But even on the mist, you're getting still pretty good ball speed, but it's still getting out there.
The spin's quite maintainable for a high strike as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the solid ones are in.
I'm used to a high strike being about 1500.
Yeah, yeah, and so taking that tee down, or sometimes the bottom twists with it, taking that tee down a little bit, actually, almost erring a hair low is safer because it launches lower and maintains spin. It doesn't get that knuckle onto it, but it also means you're less likely to get heavily up on it from an angle attack point of view. But I really like the consistent pattern of shot shape from this.
That was out of the heel.
Maybe took that a little too low. I mean, like it managed the direction well.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what a heel strike does, that's very workable.
I would say it's probably, the algorithm's probably been slightly kind. I think that's still going to go a little bit left. But, I'd say this is where this head does really well. It manages the spin rate really, really well on those heel sides, which is where in the past years they've fallen down quite heavily. Yeah. Actually, what I'm going to do, I like where we are with head and shaft.
Yeah.
Just going to look at the grip, just to dial that last bit in, because you're in the +4s in your irons.
The +4s in your.
The only reason one on the driver.
The only reason I went mid-size on that was to bring the swing weight back down.
Got it.
So I did bring, because I don't know what your lead time is. I brought a standard one.
Got it.
For the new build.
Got it.
So the only reason I went mid-size was
okay.
Get a few points off the swing weight to make it slightly less heavy than it already is.
So let's just have a little check. I mean, certainly the not going to the mid-size is gone. I'm just going to see the sizing on this and just gauge. Yeah, so sits. So that kind of taking the tapering out definitely is a good thing. Hence that grip master is going to be good. So I'm going to put and top hand's perfect. Sits really into the finger as well. So I'm just going to put the equivalent size on, just so that's that last detail on. Good line through.
It felt okay. I can feel it is a tiny bit heavier.
Yeah, it's just whether that creates, because it's whether that creates a bit of a fetch, or whether it actually gives you a little more stability to hit against. Let's see. Oh, that was hit.
That felt really good.
Yeah.
I think that felt like one of the best ones yet.
Yeah, ball speed pretty good. Yeah. Because that's the sort of thing where the more confident you get, does that half a swing rate point extra actually then mean that as you build speed with it, it stays there for you. You know, and ultimately want to.
And you don't want
it for the confident swing. Not that you don't have to smash it, but we've done that with the dead weight of the shaft. Bringing that down means it's not a hit at it, but we want to let you be able to let it go.
You want to hit it, and also you don't want it to be too light because you're going to lose mass and drop ball speed.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean, it's a margin. I mean, a gram and a half isn't going to be a big difference on momentum and things like that. But for a player that's sensitive to head weighting, you go too far and it drops behind, then you have to fetch it, and then it goes left right.
Yeah.
So I'm very head weight sensitive because I have to have something to hit against, and so it's more about that kind of squaring point and having the club just arrive at the right time rather than me have to manage it. And for some, it's almost with you, it's the opposite. If it gets too heavy, you then have to get it back there, and then it creates the volatility.
Yeah.
So. I'm going to take that half a point off. Right now, it kind of feels like you're having to just
the first one
just
felt
to get it there a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, again, flight numbers are great. You know, launch and spin's good. You know, there's a lot of things where I want to see them. And so this might be something that is a don't go too heavy now, but we've got plenty of facility to just up it a little bit down the line as you get more freed up as you get into the season. Yeah, we're talking about a gram and head weight.
Get used to swinging a lighter club and being more free with it.
Yeah. We're talking about such a small amount of actual dead weight, like a gram. Yeah, it's not make or break from a general swinging point of view. It's just a little fine tune on timing that just means you're not having to be slightly lighter right now. Might just give you a little bit more margin of error. Heavier down the line might give you a bit more control once you start to really kind of get it going on course. But it's a real minutiae.
That feels good. That was high on the face.
Yeah, right now, I like where that is.
That felt really good.
That was great. That last swing was best swing.
It felt like
around.
Everything married up.
Yeah.
I knew exactly where it was.
I mean, you could be forgiven the 5 foot offline. But yeah, lovely, quiet shot shape, really good launch and spin. Again, it's, in principle, you'd say, okay, we don't want any higher, but that's a really safe ball flight. No. And considering where we've been up at like kind of 16, 17s to get that spin, you take a couple of degrees off it, that's a way more neutral flight. But yeah, definitely right now, the gram less on the head means you're not having to just get it there, which just then means that it might be something we go back and put back on, but that looks such a controlled move that then it's just, you can just turn a bit faster if you want to hit it a bit more, or as you build confidence, we need the extra gram just to give you that bit more timing. But right now it looks like you're having to work the heavier weight, the heavier swing weight by half a point a little bit more, whereas those two just looked, I mean, okay, a little bit more club path on that previous one, but that just looked so repeating and really, really simple through the ball. Yeah, but when it's good, the spin's in such a tight window. Yeah. That's been great. And actually now we're there, starting to see the smash creeping back up. As strike point starts to dial in, and then, in just a really nice 295 down the middle.
Can't ask for more, really.
Neutral flight. Really happy. And so much versatility to that setup that lets us just dial that in. So it's the stiff flex of this shaft. We don't need to go any stiffer. It's the 9 dial down in loft. So rather than taking an 8 and lofting it up, actually that starts to take straight back.
So it's still the same
I'll use
in
this head
the
to-
modern heads, down loft, slightly open
Just slightly
face.
opens it, yeah. But what it also does, if you think of the weight's right at the back here, if you're lofting it down, it raises it. So actually it maintains spin. Whereas if you add loft to the lower loft head, you're lowering CG, which knuckles it off even more. So actually the 9 lofted down with the weight at the back helps to hold that spin in a really safe area. So there are kind of lots of elements that, in terms of what we're trying to achieve, and the MO at the beginning was lower launch, maintain the spin. It's done that brilliantly, so very happy. So all in all, certainly from fitter's perspective, I'm really pleased with the results we saw there in terms of what you wanted from it, but also from where the start point was, you know, the principle of what you had in terms of what it was doing to what we should have been able to do, kind of ticked all the boxes. And I think, alluding to what you were saying earlier, being able to bring that launch down and maintain spin, but it's also helping you quieten down the angle of attack a little bit as well, which that just means so much more predictability.
Yeah, I think it's going to enable me to stay on top of it more and have a more repeatable swing rather than trying to always stay back on it to create the ideal conditions for a club that ultimately isn't the right fit for me.
Yeah, and from a swing development point of view as well, that now allows that to kind of kick on. You're not having to create a unique driver move just to keep a ball in the air. Yeah. So from all the swing work that you've been doing and can continue to do, you're able to dial whatever feel into irons and driver. Yes, the pitch of swing is going to be a little different still, but it's not such a unique feel. But again, that allows everything just to, I guess, sort of not compress down, but to kind of solidify around a stable action rather than, right, what have I got to do with this?
Yes,
club? So,
everything is more repeatable in a similar window rather than these are my irons and that's my driver.
Yeah. So all in all, yeah,
very good.
it's great.